Hey there, welcome to Trapping the Time. I'm Pablo, and in today's video, I'm going to present you another watch from the French brand Baltic. In this case, the Aquascaphe Dual Crown, a very capable and at the same time, very beautiful diver, in that minimalist retro line that so much defines the brand. It is a diving watch, analog, with 3 central hands, without data, moved by an automatic caliber that also allows manual winding, Miyota 9039. 4 Hz, 8 pulses per second, with 42 hours of power reserve, but in reality in this unit we measure 44 hours and 42 minutes. According to the manufacturer, the supposed deviation of this caliber ranges from -10 to +30 seconds a day, but we are going to check that right now. For starters, we know the data provided by Baltic, including the day they measured it, which was January 29th of this year. And as you can see, they are quite coincident with ours. Both bit error and steering wheel turning amplitude as well as timing coincide almost completely with our measurements, and I already said it in the previous video. I think it is very wise that the brand provides you with this kind of information. Few enthusiasts have a chrono comparator at home, and providing you with this data seems to me something useful, and that speaks well of the brand. You appreciate that there is a commitment. It tells you that there is someone who bothers not only to measure it, but to adjust it. And knowing that they are assembled in France, I see it as an added value. I like that they equip calibers according to what they offer. It is usually very common to find a phantom position on the crown. Wow, that the watch has been fitted with a data movement, something that should not be to highlight but not normal. But as you all know, it doesn't always happen. Its measurements are 39 mm diameter, 47 mm long between posts, 12.2 mm height or thickness, and 20 mm between handles. Its RRP is 786.50 € with this strap. With bracelet is more expensive, but it includes taxes and shipping. The first thing we find on the dial is the mobile ring or inner bezel, which exceeds from the crown we see at 2 o'clock. Very strong and difficult to move alone, it is not screwed like the other, which does not seem to affect its water resistance, which is 200 meters, but it does affect a possible unintentional displacement, which, well, in the end I do not think many people use this watch as a diving instrument, but in everyday use it makes me sick to see that bezel move out of place. In this case, I can attest that this is not the Orioneo Retro we saw recently, an impossible watch for people with OCD. However, in the days I've worn this Aquascaphe, that hasn't happened. Wow. If it has moved, it has been minimally, and I have barely appreciated it, and it is something I appreciate. It is metallic blue with sunray effect. The markers are painted with luminous paste, alternating bars with Arabic numerals every 10. While instead of the 60 we see a marker shaped like a guitar pick. In the first 20 minutes do carry all the minute indexes. Let's go to the dial, which is also blue. Almost matte if it were not for that sunray effect so blurred it has. On the perimeter are the minute indexes painted in the shape of a bar. Then we find the hour markers with the classic circular, triangular, rectangular, but with rounded edges. Very much to my liking that it does not incorporate a dater. Thus, those responsible for undoing the symmetry are the 12 o'clock marker and the first 20-minute indexes of the mobile ring. There is something in this watch that, even in its simplicity, shows attention to detail. Everything is basic. No element is missing or missing, but they are very well integrated. Everything is minimalist, but very well thought out. I think that if Max Bill designed a diver, it would look a lot like this one. Below 12 o'clock, painted in gray, in a very thin line, the brand name. Above 6 o'clock, in the same color and in 2 lines, the name of the watch and the dual crown. The hands are pencil-shaped, although they are quite thick. The same width and shape minute and hour hands only differ in length. Also, both are filled with lumen and, to check their effectiveness, we have placed them next to the hermetic, and the reference in this subject that, as you know, is the Meadow Ocean Star. As you can see, I was very surprised that the other, the Hermetic, a field watch with a mountaineer's air, has a lumen that far exceeds this one. It should also be noted that few watches I've seen that look like the Meadow. In terms of luminous paste, it is epic. Very surprised. Because of how well that field performs, and because it is superior to this diver. And that, among other things, is where the evolution of the brand is noted, as they are correcting mistakes and improving materials with each watch they launch. This Aquascaphe has been on the market for a couple of years now, and improved significantly to the B compacts. And in turn, the Hermetic, their latest release, is superior, at least in this aspect of the luminous paste, to this one we see today. Otherwise, they are very similar watches in quality of materials. If something could be improved, they have done it, and that speaks well of them. The trotter is a baton finished in lollipop on the counterweight, and near the tip has, rather than a drop, an abnormally large surface painted with lumen. And that makes it have a lot of presence. You don't have to look for it because you see it quickly. The crystal is sapphire with anti-reflective coating. It has a slight dome at the beginning and then it is straight. It does not protrude as much as in the B compacts or Hermetic, but that rounded angle does give it that same vintage tone without being as exposed. Wow, they get a similar effect. But let's not forget that this is a 200-meter diver. It's time to thank all these friends you see on the screen, as well as our members, for their great support. We leave you the link to our Patreon in the description of the video, in case you want to check all the advantages that our patrons have. The bezel is rare and full of personality. It has only 2 faces, but at an angle. An abnormal angle, to say the least. When they are faceted, they are usually 45 or 90 degrees when they go down at a right angle. But this one is kind of tucked inward, so that instead of wanting to pull out muscle, what it wants to do is to meet the box, where it is coupled as if it were in the same piece. And that makes that area is lightened steel material. And visually, I find it tremendously attractive. I'm about to say that it is what brings more personality to the watch. So seen from the side, you see that it's 39 millimeters, but because that bezel sticks out a little bit. Then it tucks in, and all that makes the watch even smaller. More aesthetic and just as functional. The truth is that I like this solution because, without attracting your attention at first glance, you fall in love with its subtle forms and its simplicity and effectiveness. It seems to me that you can't do more with less. For example, the brushing of the most visible part of that bezel is not radial, but oblique, but rounded. The truth is that I had never seen it to date. The other side does have a more common horizontal brushing, but just as appropriate. Otherwise, it is brushed on both the lugs and the cheeks, except for the thin lip that runs from side to side, which is finished in gloss. The crowns look very cool to me, both for the decoration and for the good feel they have. As they protrude from the bottom, you immediately find traction, and they are very easy to operate. The one on the 2 is bi-directional. The one on the 4 is threaded, and once removed it has only 2 positions, one to wind it by hand and the other to change it now. The case back is blind and very simple. It only shows the name of the brand in the center and around the own legends. For example, that it is assembled in France, that it has 20 atmospheres, etc. The strap is FKM, with tropic decoration in blue, elastic, durable, comfortable, does not make you sweat a lot. Inside is signed, and you see that it has that intricate decoration that makes the surface of the skin in contact is not so much and therefore sweat less. It incorporates fast pins and little more can be said about it. And now we just need to see the buckle, which has nothing remarkable, finished in gloss, signed, normalita, appropriate. Having seen the watch, it is time to summarize shortcomings and virtues. Among the first, perhaps I could ask for a more durable lumen in the markers, as in his brother field. But above all, what I would ask is a slightly tighter price. For 785 euros, I think it should incorporate the bracelet, which in this case must be paid separately. And then the watch already goes around 870 euros. A field where it already competes with very reputable brands and very capable watches. Of course, few have this minimalist beauty. And I think that's its main argument. Apart from good materials, a good caliber, good sapphire with anti-reflective, overall it is a good watch, but I find it a bit expensive, especially if I compare it with the Hermetic that we saw recently. I think that field does not ask anything to this diver, and in some aspects it even surpasses it, and it is much cheaper. And that's precisely what I meant when I highlighted the evolution of the brand. Each watch launched is better than the previous one, and if they correct the price downwards, then even better. And nothing more for today, thanks to Baltic and especially to you for joining us until the end. Greetings from the team and see you soon, God willing.